this is CricketSong with Lunar Wisdom, and this video is going to be discussing the law of attraction and whether or not it's dishonest. So I found that there's a lot of uncomfortable feelings that surface when anyone in the pagan community discusses the law of attraction. And I wanted to address some of what I've witnessed when this topic comes up in conversations. I want to first state that I believe that it's possible to work with the law of attraction and manifest your desired outcome. I know individuals who do it successfully, and frankly, it's an integral part of my own witchcraft. You see, there are very strong similarities between the law of attraction and witchcraft and magic. And I would dare say that witches who encounter personal resistance to the idea that these similarities exist may not fully comprehend what the law of attraction truly is. And please understand that when I'm discussing the law of attraction, I'm not speaking of just positive thinking as presented by the presentations in the very well-known book and video known as The Secret. I'm talking about deep law of attraction. So first I want to state that the law of attraction is universal, meaning that it's available to everyone and anyone can work with it, and it works great for all people and not just a select few. It's an application that everyone, regardless of gender, ethnicity, race, age, culture, religion, is able to utilize in their life experience. Young children can utilize the law of attraction, and older adults can utilize the law of attraction, and everyone in between. It doesn't discriminate like people do. It has the ability to work for those individuals who believe in its inherent power and are honestly committed to working with it. The law of attraction works through the highest level of authenticity, integrity, and honesty. If the individual isn't being truthful about their personality or their character, if they do not firmly adhere to their own code of conduct or their own morals or their own values, then they're not being sincere with what it is they're feeling or desiring in their own life, then the law of attraction just will not work for them in the way they believe it's supposed to work. And this is the crux of the law of attraction. And for those of you who are witch, you will recognize that this crux is the same in our own craft. Witch, know thyself. To know. See, the law of attraction does not hint at deceiving yourself. It's not deceitful. It is the people who are deceitful. And we are best at deceiving ourselves. When we are fearful of something, when we hold false beliefs about ourselves, that is when we are prone to deny and to deceive, not only ourselves, but others. The law of attraction is based in love. Deceit, that's fear. That's based in fear. The law of attraction simply states like attracts like, and that by focusing on a thought, whether that thought is something that is desired or undesired, the individual can manifest that thought into reality. Does that sound familiar to you if you're a witch? Well, it should, because that's how our magic works. The law of attraction works because everything that exists in our physical world is comprised of energy, and energy can be manipulated, and it can be manifested into our personal reality or the shared reality. So let's consider for a moment a common argument against the law of attraction. So here's an example. I'm feeling depressed and discouraged, and it can be difficult to move away from those feelings because they easily consume us. I may even focus more on the feelings of sorrow and emptiness and hopelessness that I am experiencing. This would not be the best emotional place to create a change I'm seeking, right? If you're feeling sorrow, emptiness, hopelessness. I think we can all agree it would be most difficult to manifest happiness in my life if I'm feeling this way. The ideal emotional condition to manifest happiness would be one of joy and gratitude. But I cannot go from depression to joy like that. It's impossible to experience such a dramatic shift. Maybe unless that individual was given some sort of medication that would force the individual's chemistry to change. But doesn't even that take time? Don't you have to sort of build up that kind of medication? Being an individual who was on Zoloft for a few years, it took time for that to kick in. So going from depression to joy didn't happen overnight. Human beings are not created, nor are we able to force ourselves to go from one end of the emotional spectrum to the complete opposite end. Depression to joy. It doesn't happen in just a few moments. It takes an individual time to get into depression, and it'll take time to move from depression to joy. But it is possible. It can happen. So within the law of attraction, this process, this shift is paramount, because not one of us is constantly in this state of joy and gratitude. We're human beings. We experience the spectrum of human emotion, but we are still able to create the life we desire by using the law of attraction. So what would this look like? How would someone who is depressed and discouraged find the energy to create this thing they desire in their life? Well, first I'd argue that you not pretend. There is work for you to do before you begin visualizing or spell casting. Don't just sit there and pretend that you've already had what you desire, at least not yet. Remember, this is a process, and it will take work, and it will take effort. So be gentle with yourself and give yourself the time to do the work. So I want you to consider if you're ready for this change. Think about this. Are you seriously prepared for the change you're about to manifest in your life? I believe it's important to understand that someone may have a need to experience situations and circumstances that are uncomfortable, that are undesirable, because it is through great suffering that we learn the most profound things about ourselves and the nature of our relationships with others, with our gods, and with nature. It isn't necessary that other people understand your needs, only that you do. If you find you're not ready for change and you're unwilling to do the work, then don't attempt it. But if you do find you're ready for a change and you're willing to do the work required, then I would encourage you to proceed. So looking at the spectrum of human emotions and recognizing that depression is at one end and joy is at the opposite end, we see that there are a plethora of emotions between the two. So we would find our way out of depression by finding things in our lives that we're grateful for or joyful about. Each of us is living different lives with different circumstances, so each of our journeys will be unique. But let me present you with an example of how this might look by using me as an example for you, okay? So let's go back to the year 2002, right after the birth of my daughter. I found myself in a very deep depression. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and like I mentioned, I was given a prescription of Zoloft. I was experiencing so many emotions like sadness and unhappiness, and I felt powerless. I felt unworthy. I was very angry. I felt guilt because I was angry. I was fear. I was grieving. Because I had had a miscarriage prior and I hadn't mourned about that. So I was just in this very deep, dark place. But using the law of attraction, I would bridge my emotions up the scale from depression to something else. So I would ask myself, is there anything I'm grateful for? Is there anything that brings me even the smallest amount of joy or happiness? And let me tell you, this was very difficult at first, especially being in this very deep, dark hole of depression. But I didn't like it, and I was willing to find something to feel just a little bit happy about because I truly wanted to be somewhere else. I wanted to feel better about my life than I was feeling in that very moment. So yes, I was grateful that I could see. I was grateful that I had sight and that I was able to watch my favorite movie on VHS at the time. So with a focus on the feelings that watching this particular movie brought me some pleasant feelings, I would ask myself, is there anything else that brings me pleasant feelings? Anything else that brings me just a little shred of happiness? Well, yeah, okay, so I experience joy when I eat toasted almond fudge ice cream. Even though in the bigger view that probably was not healthy, but you know what? In that moment, it brought me happiness. So I focused on how that felt. The happiness I experienced when eating that flavor of ice cream, and perhaps I even indulged in it while I'm watching my favorite movie on VHS, being grateful that I can see and I can taste this ice cream. This is the way I moved up the emotional scale. This is how I did it until I was able and feeling that I was in a place of joy and gratitude. And it's then that I practice visualization, or it is in then that I would cast my spell to help me overcome depression. So once I visualized what it is I desired, and I maintain the feeling of gratitude and joy about this desire, and I believe that it is coming to me because I know in my heart that I have the power to manifest it. I believe in my own power as a co-creator and a witch, and if I identify as witch, I believe in my own inviolable power, my own sovereignty, my own ability to change my reality. The law of attraction doesn't encourage the individual to be inauthentic. It encourages the individual to experience each and every human emotion they have, but to recognize that it is these same emotions that attract the experience they have within their lifetime, and to use this energy to manifest a life that he or she truly desires for themselves. It's about living and being in this very moment, in recognizing that right now is the key to our tomorrow. I'm curious to know your thoughts and feelings about the law of attraction. Please share them with me. And until next time, I love you. Blessed be.